Hi, what's going on, guys? It's Almond. Welcome back to another Wizard101 video. In today's video, I kind of want to talk about a topic that's been brought up to me by a lot of players, that they've been saying the world is too grindy.
I've been playing 70 hours! 70 hours! In 1 week! It's too grindy!
Right? They said that the world, even though it's quite easy compared to Novice, it's still really grindy. And to that, I have to say it's really not grindy at all. I feel like a lot of players are taking Wallaru the wrong way. I think, in my opinion, Wallaru was done perfect. There were some things that I wish that were changed, of course, but beyond that, I think it was a perfect world and it was done right. So I'll talk all about that in today's video and give you guys my thoughts and opinions about how grindy is actually Wallaru, right? Like, if we're trying to get to max level, trying to perfect the stats like I have been, is it really that hard? I'll talk about all about that. So if you do enjoy this type of content, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all type of stuff, and let's get into it. So as you know, I've already finished Wallaru 12 times at least at this point, right? And you guys can trust my opinion on this by far, because if I've done the world this many times, I probably have a decent amount of experience farming this world, right? And even if we go check the reagents, you guys already know that I have farmed a crap ton of dream water from my endeavors. I think there is we can find it, yeah, 999 plus, right? My dreamstone spread out across all my characters because of the elixir. But what I've been doing is, of course, grinding. Even though I have all the gear, I have all the jewels, whatever, it's still good to have just dream water on me at all times, because the fact that, like, if you go to bingo, of course, as a crafter, after you defeat every boss that's like notable, I'll pop up the loot map on screen. You guys know, like, those bosses right there are the ones that drop stuff that you need for like your gear or whatever, and they also drop no, they actually have a vendor after you complete them. But basically, you can just meet the vendor in Wallaru, in the, I think it's Hope Springs or whatever, but he has everything here, so you can just craft it whenever you want, right? And getting these things is really not that hard. Like, I know you're probably looking at the cost, like 47 almond, is that a lot? Not really. If you're farming Freddy, you get 2 to 3 per run, right? And if you're doing like a good amount of runs, you can probably get this pretty quickly, especially if you have an elixir on. I think an elixir carries really hard. And if you guys don't know what I mean, when I'm talking about the elixirs, is when we go over here and we go to, I think I have one left, these crafting benefit elixirs. If you ever see Majid, you know, the guy that you use your loyalty store, you know, and you see him like every month and he refreshes, if you ever see him do crafting benefits, I highly recommend that you buy them. You might not need them at that moment in time, right? But they're always good to collect, because double pet XPs and everything like that is always in you know, the scroll of fortune, which I probably should make a video about this, but they're always in the scroll of fortune. But crafting benefits I haven't seen really in the scroll of fortune, at least from my experience. There might be at one point, or they might have been, that I just don't remember, but I feel like I've mainly just seen double pet XP and like everything else. So that's why I always try to get crafting benefits from Majid whenever he does sell them on a monthly basis, because his shop refreshes, and that's how I'm able to get 999. It's really not that hard. I think it just depends on how much effort you want to put in, and if you have a solid team of farming. If you have a solid team of farming, of course, I feel like I'm out of the equation because I do quad box at times. But there are players that you can find that will be farming this, right? It's just that depending on the strat that they do. Now, like for the final fight, for example, people have like a million different strats. At the end of the day, it's a 2-round fight. You can blade the last person with Ellie blades. You can do the link strat that I've been doing. Or you can do Scald Incendiate, flee and come back, Scald Incendiate. You can do link into a Scald Incendiate. There's many ways of defeating the final fight. It just depends on what your preference is. So, and that accumulates to time efficiency as well, because the fact that if you're trying to get as much dream water, you're trying to get as much dreamstone, and you want to craft all this stuff, it's not that bad. And the system in Wallaru, at least from my experiences, it's one of the best. Bingo has literally, in my opinion, saved Wallaru. If Bingo was not here, I would not be making videos, because I'll still be grinding. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. Because the fact that they introduced square socket jewels that give health, and knowing that it was going to be a pain, and then the 170 pins as well, you have to refarm all your 170 pins. Luckily, power pins and shield pins didn't get increased, but it's the matter of fact that I can just go here and be like, hey, I'm just gonna buy this. Like, I don't want to go farm, I already have a bunch of dream water, let me just go buy this, you know. I know you can't get 155 health opals, which is my only gripe. It's very niche. I mean, people can make the same argument like, oh, why isn't there flat res sockets on here? It's because they're legacy now. They're not going to be improving the stats on them. It's not something that they want to incorporate in the later down worlds. So that's why they're not in here. Of course, as me, as like a content creator and stuff like that, and just be making like weird builds, I would prefer them still being in here. Of course, don't increase the stats of them, but I'd still like them to be here. Just because, bro, like we're already able to buy everything else. You might as well. Of course, you can also get Pierce jewels from here. Would I recommend it? I'd say treat this as like a last resort, because a lot of people have farmed Thieves Den back in the day, and they have a crap ton of Pierce jewels. But I would prioritize more of the damage jewels, because they're the new ones, right? If you want to get these new damage jewels and everything like that, they're more of like a sought after thing, of course, alongside Pierce and stuff like that. Like, you're not really going to be buying the crit ones, of course. Accuracy jewels, this I would not really recommend. For certain builds, you might need the 1 extra accuracy, quote unquote. And pip jewels, you can get those from farming couch potatoes. You should have a lot. I don't know what else to say. You should have a lot. Archmastery jewels, I wouldn't recommend it right now. You're just interfering with everyone else and team up and everything like that, so people can get their school pip first round, so I wouldn't recommend it. And then pip conserve, there hasn't been a pip conserve really that's needed for PvE. And then shad rating, when have I used shads in PvE? I mean, it's rare, but they're still useful, but I don't think I'm gonna use them. But when it comes to the accuracy, Lucky right here, literally god tier vendor, bro. They had 2 vendors in this world that are legit god tier. When you go to this guy, right, you can buy a 15 accuracy 15 accuracy. If you don't need the 1 extra accuracy for your build, just go to this guy and just buy it for gold. What? And what confuses me is people still say this world is grindy when it makes no sense. Like, you're getting 2 of the best vendors that we've seen in this game for such a long time. And then on top of that, you can also get the Orthoris jewel from here. In advanced combat, this is such a good jewel, and people were like crafting stuff for it, whatever. You can just buy it from here, right? I mean, Rebirth jewel would be good too, but I mean, after like the raid and stuff like that, this got banned, so it didn't see as much usage. And then all these other ones that they're kind of niche. I wouldn't recommend them, in my opinion. But the Orthoris jewel is the one I can be like, okay, well, this is the god tier jewel right here. Either whether it be me doing fire into myth or doing just regular myth in advanced combat, this is such a good jewel. I will stand by that. And then of course you can still get health jewels from here. You can still get the 145 ones, which is okay. I mean, I'm not going to argue. At least I'm still able to get the 145, but I would still like to see an option of me figuring out how to get the 155 health opals. I haven't figured out who drops it in Wallaru at the moment. I know there's going to be one boss maybe that drops 155s, even though they're legacy. I would hope that one of them does. If not, I'm gonna have to go back to Maxine and Novice and farm more 155 health opals, which is kind of niche. It's kind of annoying, but I mean, there's really nothing else to socket. I'm not gonna socket on Arc Mastery. I'm not gonna socket on mana or fishing. When it comes to like regular PvE in advanced combat, I can see someone for some reason socketing on fishing because they're like, oh, I need the fishing opal for the raid because I'm already at the stat cap for the health. Might as well give myself a fishing opal so I can catch these fish. That's the only thing I can see people doing at one point. But beyond that, like the whole premise of is Wallaru grindy, it's really not. If I'm able to get like this stuff, and like keep this in mind, the bosses in this world are really easy to farm compared to Novus. Like Aeon of Atavis, when you wanted the gear, of course we don't have the gear at the moment, so I can't say that as a comparison right now. If we're comparing it to, like, for example, the Nightmare Dungeon that's going to come out next year, I can't say for a fact, oh, well, you know, Aeon of the Tables is just as bad or whatever. So I can't give you that. But if we're comparing like the Bowser boss, like Design Duelist, or for Don Manzana, or like Maxine or Ren 1010, if we're comparing those bosses and had the farmable capability versus the new bosses that we farm, like what's it called, Crash, what's it called, Liam fight, of course, the ship fight, like all those fights, and Freddy. Are like, what is the comparison? Wallaru bosses are all basically one roundable except the ship fight, which is 2 rounds, right? Because you can't really do skeletons and DHEs, you know, and they have 2 rows of enemies, so like you kind of have to. But the Freddy fight, 1 round. What's it called, the other fights like Crash and the Liam fight, 1 round. right? Of course, the Liam fight you have to go around. You know, you have to go Mr. Montgomery. You have to go around the 2 fights and then fight him, which is kind of niche, but still, it is like one roundable, right? And that's my premise. Like you can get this gear pretty easily, right? And I know that they're badge locked, right? I know players are complaining about the whole badge locking thing, that, hey, I need to get Freddy player 1, I need to kill him 10 times to be able to access all the stuff that he drops and use it in the pity system to craft the specific things. Or if I need to defeat Mr. Montgomery 10 times, or the invading fleets 15 times, and Crash Bandicoot 20 times. Crash, you don't really need a pinpoint. I would prioritize like the other two, because Freddy gives you the damage jewels and Mr. Montgomery gives you the health jewels. And then, of course, the Spiral one is mainly if you want to dual school. Crash, I would only do once on one character, because all this badge gives you access to is give you access to crafting the amulets. And you're gonna farm Crash anyways, in my opinion, because he's gonna be giving you those socket wrenches that are really sought after, so you don't have to spend crowns, right? That's another thing. They added that in a fight. Right, they added that in a fight. Keep that in mind, so players do not have to spend crowns on like unsocketing something. Like if I go to like my stalker ring and I want to unsocket something, it's 200 crowns, and if I don't have a legendary socket wrench, it's over. Now Crash drops those, and literally that's saving you 200 crowns per thing that you unsocket on, like per ring, per amulet, whatever. That's saving you 200 crowns. And I don't know how players are telling me that this world is still grindy. Like the amount of stuff that we got in this world compared to Novus is godlike. Like Novus farming, it was there, don't get me wrong, right? I know if we're excluding Aeon of Atavis, because we can't really compare Hat, Robe, Boots, Wand at the moment, but if we're comparing the other fights to Wallaru has it the best. You got 2 godlike vendors over here that have all, like, this has a pity system. The other one has the accuracy jewels if you don't need the 1 extra accuracy. They have an Ortherus jewel. It's just so good. It's really just so good. And I know players are complaining about the badge locking thing, like I was saying, because you also have to get these on every character. So like if I want to access the damage jewels for, like, let's say my life character, I can't view it in this vendor. Like I can see the Pierce jewels, but like these damage jewels and so like these crit jewels, I can only see for my school. So I would have to get the badge again on my other character to see those jewels for those specific characters, which in my opinion, if you're going to be farming this world anyways, right? You're going to be farming this world anyways, you need the gear or whatever, right? I wouldn't go farm out Freddy and just max him out all of his gear, like get all the gear or whatever and just leave. Because if you have multiple characters, I would recommend getting the badge on all your characters first, because then you don't have to worry about you know, using all your dream water on just getting all the leftover stuff, whatever, because you're gonna do this anyways. Especially if you have like 7 characters, you're doing Freddy 70 times just to get the badge, and within those 70 times, like, you're gonna have most of the gear anyways, and then at that point you can just spend all your dream water on jewels. Same thing with Mr. Montgomery. You're gonna be doing it 70 times. The Spiral fight, I mean, it's 15 times. I mean, but it's mainly for dual schooling. I did it on all my characters. I would recommend it. Crash, I didn't even do it on all my characters because you only need it on a couple, because he only gives you access to the amulets. But the other 3, you're gonna be doing pretty often anyways, because you're gonna be doing it through the story, and then on top of that, you need the badge. And I feel like that's the only thing that people are like kind of like getting annoyed about, like, oh, I have to go get the badge on every character. I think that's completely fair. I think being able to get the badge on every character, in return you can craft whatever and like any of this at any time. Like, I don't like, I think that is fair. I think it's completely just. Of course, if the fights are like really atrocious and like, you know, let's say they're like 7 rounds, 9 rounds, whatever, and I'm like, bro, I have to do this like 10 times, 15 times, I get it. I completely get it. But all these fights are like 1 round, 2 round, and you have to do it 10 times on each character. Well, if you want to be able to like access bingo and be able to craft the targeted like sword pins or like the targeted shield power and stuff like that, like the school specific jewels, I like, that's if you want to do that, but you are going to do that regardless, and I think that's completely just. I think that's fine, right? So overall, Wallaru is not grindy. I think it's just that the fact that players are annoyed that you have to get the badge on every character, and I think that's fine. Just for my comparison, I think that that is completely fine. Dream water is very easy to get. I already have a guide on how to do it. Same thing with Dreamstone, very easy to get. And then of course, if you don't need the 1 extra accuracy on your setups, of course, if you're not a mid-max juicer, you can just get your 15% from here and call it a day, right? I mean, like, what? Same thing with the health opals. If you don't want to farm 155 health opals, hey, you lose 10 extra HP here, but hey, at least I got them from here, you know. And then that's about it. You're not gonna really use this anyways. But overall, that's my thoughts about Wallaru. I think overall it's a good world. It's done perfect when it comes to the farming part. I know there might change some stuff for the next world, who knows, in 2 years from now, because obviously we're not getting a world next year, which most players already know this. But we might get gear, who knows. I don't know what exactly they're gonna do next year, but they should replicate the system. This system is very equivalent to the boss rematches, and once I saw the boss rematches and how they work and how the system works, I was like, we need this in Wallaru. And I'm glad that this came to Wallaru, because if we had like a different system, I can't even imagine how it would be. And I think the system is perfect. And yeah, and that's just me being completely honest. From farming on multiple characters to maxing out multiple characters, I think the system is very much just, and it's perfect. And I know the con is to get the badge, but I think that's completely just, and I think that's fine. I think that's fine, being able to get this badge on multiple characters to access the vendor. I think that's fair, right? If I'm able to do it in a week, I mean, players can do it within a month, you're good. You're good. But that's it for the video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed me talking about the whole Wiz system and is Wallaru grindy. TLDR, it's not grindy. It's just finding the team and everything like that. And if you can't find a team, you're more than welcome to join the Discord. I'm pretty sure there's people in the Discord that also want to farm the bosses and stuff like that. But that is it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that type of stuff. More Wallaru vids coming out soon. I still have to eventually go over challenge mode. I still have to eventually go over all these other things. And yeah, so I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.